Hello, you are listening to our first ever Thanksgiving special. It's the Lemon Drop Sessions. I'm Will, and I'm here with Jeff.
Hello, everybody.
Right on. We've actually had a bit of a break from recording, but we did finally. We actually haven't gotten to, kind of get out there and sort of celebrate being a food and music podcast that much. So was it yesterday? Was it yesterday that we went to Knott Hill? Was
Day
that
before.
yesterday? So
Day before.
the day
I only know that
before,
because
yeah.
yesterday was my recovery day.
Nice, 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 man. I'm glad you have that built in.
Yeah.
So Jeff really is the restaurant guy now more than ever. Jeff teaches classes. He goes to classes. He's got a couple certifications, I believe,
Yes,
and
sir.
and
Couple of
working at.
Safe certifications. I actually just got a third one specifically geared towards allergies and process of keeping guests safe.
Oh, nice,
It's
nice.
I mean it's one of those things. I've been working in restaurants for 10 years now, so it's all information I already knew just from working the job, but it's a official certification of like, hey, you can officially not kill people. And I'm like, awesome, love that.
I'm
um
sure that's how they told you to say it in the tests or whatever, you know.
oh yeah, yeah. Very important is that
Hmm.
if a patron comes to your establishment, drinks or doesn't, and this is something important I actually had to bring up to one of my servers recently. Quick side tangent there. If they come to your establishment and they are
Yeah,
intoxicated, be it they were overserved at your establishment or if they were already intoxicated, but they stopped at your place,
right,
get in their car, go home, get into a wreck, kill themselves or someone else, you as a business owner and you as a purveyor
right.
are directly liable. So that is to say that you as a restaurant owner, sure, but also what a
Nice,
lot of people don't
nice.
realize is you as a bartender or you as a server can be held directly liable for those lives. And so these certifications are basically a, hey, we're going to teach you how to recognize subtle, hints of this intoxication and how to kind of, tamp that down. And there's the etiquette of cutting someone off, right? Like there you
Wow.
avoid you statements, you
Speaking of cutting
de-escalate, you
someone
wait
off,
until,
no, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no, no, no,
I just,
I bro,
I
I can get on a roll. You
that
know I can
was
get on a
just
roll.
no, dude. I honestly wanted to like stay for that whole entire thing. I seriously I was like, oh no, I gotta explain what this episode is about, and we're having
No,
this great conversation about tips. So real quick,
but yeah.
I'm just gonna tell people what we're doing today, and then
Hell
let's
yeah.
let's double back. Let's do more tips. Is It's a Thanksgiving episode. We had a great time doing an album review of Taylor Swift's. Got to nail that T.
Swifty. Yeah.
Taylor Swifties. I'm just gonna say T Swift.
T
That makes it
Swift. Hell
easier.
yeah.
Flipping around the Instagram, and I happened across Chief Keef's Instagram, and I just thought to myself, I don't know. I know nothing. I know nothing about Chief Keef, and it's like, and we have
Yeah.
this, podcast going, and he's huge. He's super famous, and etc. So I pitched to Jeff that we would talk about Chief Keef's what became a double album, I Am Nobody. Nobody. The album Nobody was released in 2014. Nobody Part Two in 2015, and then it looks like it was repackaged as a double album in 2017, as far as I know, from the dates that I saw, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So
Hmm.
we're gonna do Chief Keef, and we try to pair it with a film. And I was trying to do a superhero, but for some reason I was like, I think Chief Keef is the Thanksgiving episode,
Yeah.
and suddenly I just had this flash of Denzel Washington throwing turkeys to everybody in American Gangster. So we're gonna do Chief Keef, I Am Nobody, the double album, and the film American Gangster. Um, and Jeff, I did not actually want to interrupt you. Let's do you want to double back for some more tips
Oh,
talk?
totally, totally. So, again, my take on it is that I think tips is very important. It
Hmm.
is not a certification that is strictly speaking required.
Right.
So to be fair, most people in every restaurant I've worked in, honestly, most people did not have that certification. I am a
Right.
special case. Like I said, I had the TAM certification. I
Hmm.
am Serve Safe certified both for restaurant manager, which is food security, to make sure that no one tampers with the food. There's no
Hmm.
illness, yada yada. It's
That's
all
a really
the stuff of keeping people safe for what you're feeding them.
which
And
I
I'm also
that is a
Serve
good
Safe
one for
alcohol.
management. Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
and that one is required. So
The middle one.
when you move into management, the
Yeah.
Serve Safe food security certification, that is required. At any time during hours of operation, there has to be at least one person on premise. And this is in Connecticut. We are Connecticut based. I'm not going to
You're
comment for
Connecticut
anywhere else,
based.
but
Thank you for that
one person,
setting,
yeah.
Jeff. We literally just talked about how Jeff is better at setting and I'm better at dialogue.
Yeah, we did have that conversation over a few pints recently.
In
Yeah,
fiction, yeah, yeah.
in fiction.
And our
But
restaurant today is, well, it's a brewery. It's Knot Hill Brewery, which features various food trucks.
yes,
Right.
really phenomenal decor too. We can definitely get into them like nitty gritty. I was a big
Right.
fan.
Yeah. So if
But
you
yeah,
wanted
you need at
to,
least one person serve
yeah.
safe certified on premise to operate a restaurant in Connecticut. But the tip certification is not strictly speaking required, but it does make the owner's insurance cheaper when someone is tip certified. So
Right.
you're in. That's just what I need on my Friday night.
Very good.
And so the end all be all is my server escalates it to me. We escalate it to the manager. Manager goes over there and talks to them, and ends up having to call them a cab because
Yeah.
they're not getting into their own car when they're this messed up. They get out. They're waiting in the rain for the cab to come out. My manager and I go to help clean the table, and there's
Uh,
a an empty nip bottle in their salad bowl.
oh,
Yeah,
come
yeah.
on. Bottle in
Leaving
the
the
salad.
evidence, yeah,
It's like, yeah, like it's like, like I could definitely see myself at your establishment saying something like, "I'm drunk and I'm eating a salad." It's like,
yeah.
but then I would stash the
uh,
nip bottle in like
yeah,
the trash can or something like
yeah,
that.
stick it in your pocket until you pass a garbage. Like,
Nod Hill, Ridgefield, Connecticut. Um, Drill rappers very welcome. Yeah, if because we're about to talk about
oh, absolutely.
Chief Keef is apparently the progenitor of drill music. I knew he was like one of
Nice.
the guys. I didn't know he was like the guy according to other
The
guys.
guy, yeah.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
the progenitor of the progenitor of drill music. Um, wow. So we went to Knot
Never
Hill.
thought you'd be saying that sentence, did you?
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I was like, we're gonna talk about Chief Keef, and we do want to talk about people from other cultures, other parts of the United States, let alone the world. You know, um,
Oh, definitely.
and we already did T Swift, so why not? And then, and so I pitched
Yeah.
it to you, and I was like, Jeff could say no, but you were like, I'll start listening to the album, and here we are. You know,
Yeah.
I, I was wondering if we should try and pair him with a superhero. Maybe we'll do that later. But American Gangster is truly a great film. Features the Bobby Womack single Across 110th Street. Is that That's not
Yep.
Bobby Womack. I might be in real trouble. I gotta look that up.
Uh
Across
honestly, I'm not even
110th
sure
Street.
myself.
It's Bobby Womack. Okay, Lucky Will. That was close.
Hey, boom, boom, boom,
Was
boom.
close. All right, but Bobby Womack is actually, I mean, I believe, what's that album? Bobby Womack. It is. It's Communication. That was one of my first really good vinyl buys. I don't even have a vinyl record. record player. I don't have a record player, but
Yeah.
uh, Communication is a fantastic album by Bobby Womack. Listen to the whole thing in one sitting, you will be transported. Um, so Nod Hill, I have to say, I did, you know, we got a few beers, right? So they,
Oh yeah.
they,
Yep.
they, I do not remember all the names off the top of my head, but we sort of closed out the night um, with their Kolsch, their Pilsner, and then their Kolsch,
Yes.
right?
Uh Diamant, I think is the Kolsch. Diamant,
Diamants, right? You are
Diamant. And that was a phenomenal
delicious.
Kolsch, honestly.
Yeah, and so
And I know you and I
yeah,
kind of have a history with Kolsch, actually.
dude, exactly.
Talking about tangential.
So yeah, from Bush Light, right? You know, I should probably try some other beers. You know, it's like and again, Bush Light, I mean, we're ready for a commercial. I mean, you want to play
Yeah,
your
right. We're not sponsored. We just
yeah,
friggin'
we're not
we
sponsored. Yeah.
enjoyed Bush Light when we were
Yeah.
younger men, for
Yeah.
damn sure.
Uh, yeah, actually, we had an opportunity for one sponsorship, and we haven't even followed up on it because we're about the tunes. We're about the tunes, and we're about
Absolutely.
the restaurants, et cetera, et cetera. So
Heck yeah, man.
so yeah, Bush Light. From there, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm trying this beer called Kolsch. It's like really good. And so sometimes I would like spring for us to have Kolsch at the party, and you would always get Kraken. Uh,
Yes. Oh my God.
I gotta look that
When I
up.
was a younger man, more in love with destruction.
You know, so I was like, all right, you know, and so like so I got the merch. We do a swag bag. I'm wearing a Nod Hill Robin's Egg Blue winter cap. Go get yourself some swag.
Hey,
Um
perfect season to be picking up caps like that, man.
put
And I
yeah,
I don't know what it is. I've been on the record for a while. Breweries have some of the most comfortable clothing you'll ever wear. I don't know
exactamundo.
who I don't know what kind of deals that distributors give specifically to breweries, but like the most comfortable hoodies, the most comfortable flannels, all the most comfortable clothing I own is brewery merch. I don't know why. I have
Yeah,
no
man.
explanation as for why. It is what it is, you know?
Dude, heck yeah. Yeah, that was really cool. And then I think um we wound up it was trivia night last night,
Yes.
and we wound up picking the table that was about to be right next to the trivia
Yeah.
table. And I actually
Yeah.
realized like because we had to order food and there was like a snafu with that. But like you know, I was like standing there and like the guy is like doing, you know, he's doing his performance, you know, his like
Yeah.
trivia night, and he's like I've been doing this for like 2 years, you know, I think I'm really
Yeah.
finding my stride. You know, it's like I'm not being denigrating, it's actually like I was like I get it, you know. And then I was like, dude, we're like sitting right in front of these guys, I should probably
The
move.
yeah.
And I
The
like
speaker like
yeah,
booming right over us. Yeah.
yeah. And so I moved I actually moved us to another seating arrange actually just like your table. I moved us to another seating arrangement, but it was like, you know, it was time to go at that point. Like the food,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, we
Yeah, so
our
that's
food was late. Yeah.
our food
But
was late and delivered to the wrong place. We can get
so
into
let's
like at a later point
at a
how
later
much
point.
I friggin' hate third party delivery systems for food.
That's intense
Because
too.
there's a
So
bunch of them and I don't like
so,
any of them.
so we just definitely took out the name of the place that delivered our food. But so Jeff edited himself by
Yeah.
saying, "I just hate all third party delivery systems."
No,
Like
it's
which is
absolutely
everyone
true.
else's second job, including potentially my own.
In okay, look, straight up, including me, I drive for one of them on
You do.
occasion. During slow seasons, I will take jobs there. I still hate them and I hope they fail. um Hot take, sure, come at me. It's They're awful systems. I don't like them at all. and that's from the perspective of someone who has directly monetarily
I
benefited from
am
them.
cackling.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. So
but yeah, so the long and short of it
I hear
is
you,
we used
man.
one
I
of
hear
those
you.
systems to get some food because unfortunately Nod Hill's food truck had to cancel on him that night. And I'm not a young man anymore. I needed some food in my stomach if we were gonna drink. And so
Yeah.
the instead of using my location data, they delivered it to my home, which was
Yeah,
what, like 20-30 minutes away.
yeah, right.
Probably
Yeah.
close to 16. But so
Oh,
basically,
good.
you and I had to load up into my car, drive to my place to pick
Yeah.
up the food that had been sitting on the stoop for 16 minutes at that point.
You were such a sport about that, though.
Oh, bro.
We wound up actually really figuring out what we were doing in terms of this podcast, like in the
Yeah.
car on the way to our, you know, misplaced, definitely misplaced food. Like,
Hey, man, I'm on
yeah, I
record
have
as
to admit that.
in
I
the
have to
past
admit.
the funny way the world works, you know,
It's
and
like the
it's just
internet, there's a location marker. I have to
yeah,
agree with you there.
yeah.
You know, it's like, but so um, you know, driving to Knott Hill Brewery in Ridgefield, Connecticut. Um, I I I will say this, you don't necessarily know where you're going. You know, you're just on this one road for a long time. You pass every other store you could possibly imagine, and then you're
Hmm.
in the dark for like maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and
Solid minutes, yeah.
and then you get to Knott Hill Brewery, and it's like this oasis. It's like an
Yeah.
island.
Yeah,
You know, it's like,
it really
yeah,
is like kind of like a I wouldn't say a best kept secret because I think they're getting some really good traction in our
oh
area,
yeah,
which I mean craft beer is very hit or miss like that, right? Like so many places will be like locally famous, but nobody outside of, you know,
yeah.
a 10-mile radius has ever heard of them. But I feel like Knott
Good
Hill's getting some
website,
good traction.
good
Oh,
website.
phenomenal
Yeah,
website, great decor. It felt really cozy. It felt like
did did.
I was walking into, and this is a weird, like random access memory, but I felt like I was walking into like the Nutcracker house on Christmas Day. Like if you've ever seen that musical where it's like they get the big family together and they got the hearth going and everybody's like
There was
you know, they get the the whole family together for like a
yeah.
Christmas like vacation basically in
You
this
know
one
what?
big house, and there felt like there was
Yeah.
a lot of warmth and a lot of like uh hospitality in that the decor was like wonderfully painted and decorated with some like really nice leaf motifs on the chandeliers, and
Love it, man.
it wasn't it was very nice. It was elegant but not pretentious, and I really
Wow.
felt welcomed as soon as I walked in there, you know, and
I did try to
it
take a photo of that chandelier.
yeah,
I
most of my
think I got a
pictures did
photo of
not come out great, but I mean
yeah.
they'll be on the Insta soon.
Yeah,
Because I
we
definitely want to
took a
rep
bro
them.
photo. That was cool. That
Yeah,
was cool.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
real part of
yeah.
the experience, you know.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I do like all of the things you said. The cozy atmosphere. They have like board games there. I saw Cards Against Humanity. I
Yeah.
was like, we are not doing that right now. So,
No, no.
it's like
If
although
trivia hadn't started up, if we had like a larger group, I might have been like, yeah, let's fucking get one of these board games and just like
yeah.
chill, you know.
And we are
But
looking to bring more and more people on. So and we're gonna do video and all sorts of stuff. So you know, if you want to, we're gonna try. Well, this is actually gonna be separate, but I'm gonna try and lightly cast roles, for some stuff. And if you want to hang out for a day and play Cards Against Humanity, honestly, the vibe of our podcast, we can make that work.
absolutely,
Yeah,
like I said, man, I'm always down for Cards Against Humanity is raunchy, but it's a really good icebreaker, especially if you're
yeah,
like meeting new people. Like
yeah.
you'll know if you gel with the people you're playing with pretty quick. So I mean,
Oh
we got
man,
that on the table. I did pull aside the that copy of the Hellboy board game that we still got to
that's
get
right.
into.
That's a Feast Like Odin special. Well,
That's definitely
actually,
a Feast Like Odin event,
yeah,
but
but also we do animation on Feast Like Odin. We do mostly live action. I might actually use Lemon Drop Sessions for the first Ice Age movie because
okay, I dig that.
I do want to pair that film with a certain musical artist.
Totally.
Um, Wow, wow,
Yeah, I think we
we're
can
running
I
the
think we can
gamut here, dude.
flex. I think we can flex, you know? Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm definitely down for that.
love it. All right, so there was one. So I have to say, around this time, I do read old school comic strips. You know where I'm going with this, people. Calvin and Hobbes. I mean, if you're talking about, um, sort of vibes and like cozy atmosphere, I mean, Bill Watterson, the creator of Calvin and Hobbes, uh, the most impressively reclusive human being that has ever been.
Hmm.
Um, you know, and he would do these large panel drawings of sort of like Calvin or however many people in the family sitting in front of the fireplace, and he would
Yeah,
just like really like go in on this fireplace, and it's just like like how much, it's like he put effort into drawing that fireplace, and it sort of almost served as this metaphor for the kind of effort that it takes to get your own fireplace,
yeah.
like if, so,
I was gonna say I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't know that I've mentioned it on here, but I have been in the market for my first home.
mhm,
My
mhm,
partner Amanda and I have been house hunting for at least the past 6 months, on and off, legitimately for the past 2 years. Things have just been so crazy that it took us a while, but we're finally, fingers crossed, closing
yeah,
on an apartment. And it's one of those things where the place we're at doesn't have it, but one of the items on our list was, we want a fireplace.
right, right, right,
So like our quote unquote forever home, wherever like we end up, end all be all, like it is a thing. We want a hearth, we want a fireplace
yeah,
in our home, because there's just something, I don't know, maybe that's my hey look my made it moment, like I can afford a place that is so cozy it has a fireplace, but it's
yeah,
a real
man,
aspiration. So I totally get that, like the idea
right,
of
right.
putting that effort in, and like, man, I've got a fireplace,
Yeah. And I just
so
want to
that's
add, like,
totally legit.
you can luck out and rent a place with a
Oh yeah.
fireplace, or
Oh yeah.
yeah, like honestly, so it's like, here talking to Jeff and hear him going through this process has just sort of made me think every so often about real estate. And I
Hmm.
told you I found some great real estate show on the internet.
Yeah.
We'll follow that up at a later time. I mean, we got to get to Chief Keef, the
Yes.
progenitor of
Yeah.
drill music.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
a quick anecdote for the
yeah.
viewers at home from today. Before we started recording, Will
Mhm.
looks me in the eye and he says, "So let's aim for 30 minutes today."
Oh yeah,
And I am pretty sure we have blown past that
cleared.
without even scratching our content. We haven't really talked about Chief Keef. We haven't really talked about American Gangster. We
Rough,
finally got through Not Hill, and
rough.
I meant to set a timer, but I'm
I was
fairly
actually
certain
meaning
we've
to.
blown past like the 45-minute mark
I
already. So
I glance. Uh we might still be under 45 minutes, but I
nice.
don't. I remember glancing at the clock and I was like 12:08. That seems reasonable. Maybe we timestamp right now is 32 minutes. What do you want to?
Okay.
What do you want to guess? Did you say
I'm gonna say 35. I'm gonna say 35. Be a
there?
little conservative. I'm gonna trust you, say we're under 45, and knock 10 minutes off my
Don't do
initial
that.
estimate.
I'm just kidding. Well, you know what?
um,
Actually,
it
hey,
will be
dude.
interesting to look back and be like, oh, when they said these times, this is the exact timestamp, and we can like kind of keep ourselves honest, and have the tally on the description.
So Jeff, I
Oh,
I
dude.
sent you an email just before we started recording, and the
Yes.
timestamp for that is 11:56 a.m.
Oh, damn.
So
Okay.
so worst case scenario, we are at 4 plus 33. We're at 37 minutes. You are the winner.
Okay.
You're the
Hey,
winner, my guy.
closest
Uh,
without going over.
nice.
But no, seriously, to take us away, because I mean that is very cool, and
Absolutely.
you are definitely the authority on music, more so than I
Oh,
am.
dude, I don't know. Well, we'll see. I mean, who is the authority on music, right? I
That's
mean,
fair.
but yeah, it's like actually this is a great example, right? Like so Chief Keef, um, you know, there were maybe some other people who were onto what Chief Keef was onto, but I guess maybe Chief Keef did it more or did it first or did it in a way or in a city even where people just noticed it, you know.
We're more
So
receptive, and yeah.
you know, he has from what I've seen a lot of releases, this guy. It's like maybe like every year, you know, something like that, a new album, you know. And also, you know, some of these albums, if not maybe most of them, they're released digitally. There's no CD, you know. It's like when we were going to college, I was going to Borders and I was
Yeah,
buying CDs. And you
man,
know,
when they were still open. Oof.
isn't that
Yeah,
crazy?
no,
Like
that
actually,
is.
and yeah, so I have to say, so we're basically getting our start here through SoundCloud and YouTube, of course. YouTube is
Clutch.
yeah. Thank you, Jeff. Lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have struggled with such a apt metaphor. Um, man, clutch. So, um, anyway, let's do some Chief Keef real quick. Anyway, shout out to YouTube and SoundCloud, and YouTube Music. Those are the apps that I am using for this podcast and also to listen to all these great tunes. Now you know. And but we're gonna start branching out into a few more locations. We talked about that the other day.
Yep.
That's so maybe I have two secrets up my sleeve. All right, so what was it, 34, 6 minutes? All right. So Thanksgiving episode, it's the Lemon Drop Sessions. Chief Keef, right? It's drill music. I mean, there are a bunch of great drill playlists on SoundCloud. That is not a joke. And actually, I don't know. Yeah, sometimes you don't know what you can or can't say, right? Because some music secrets are like trade secrets. But I have to say, you would be pleasantly surprised to see what certain individual artists, you know, some people, there are some rappers who really, you know, sneak some gold into their SoundCloud, you know. I think
Heck yeah.
you know, for the true believers, you can find some stuff there. So um uh Chief Keef, you know, I'm used to listening to drill on shuffle on a playlist, you know,
Yep.
and you know, kind of, you know, I do notice, I mean, I like the songs as I hear them, you know, and so it's kind of, so you know, Chief Keef probably came on, you know, and you know,
Yeah.
like but sort of isolating his what eventually became a double album um was super interesting. And again, this happened with Taylor Swift album review, is when I listen to the album at night, it's a totally different perspective than during the
Yeah.
day. If I have stuff to do, I dare to say, if I have stuff to do still that day, I do hear the music differently than, you know,
Hmm.
the day is over. I am
And you can
killing
fully
time.
decompress.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
chilling and I'm gonna, why don't I throw on this record that we were gonna do for the podcast, right? You know?
Yeah.
And so um but you know, it does get you in a certain mood, you know, and it's sort of like it's really, I mean, it kind of encapsulates, you know, everything. I mean, American Gangster, you know, it really is about how you get the money and
Yeah.
then what the money buys, right? You know,
Hmm.
it's
Well,
like,
so
yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's a
almost like
really
two,
interesting
yeah,
aspect to lean into, for
mhm,
sure. I think when you were talking earlier and you were mentioning like, oh, let's tie Chief Keef with American Gangster, and I was like, that's, yeah, absolutely, because it is about that hustle, and it's about pushing through, and that extra energy and that extra push that you need,
yeah,
you know.
Also,
And if you were,
admittedly, it's place in
hmm,
history, right? There's no
oh
internet.
yes,
American Gangster is set in what, the 70s, the 80s? I don't remember.
I think I had it up just a minute ago. So full disclosure, it's been a little while since I've uh seen
Yeah,
American Gangster, which is a real crying shame because it is an absolutely
yeah,
wonderful piece of like crime,
yeah.
organized crime media.
Right on, man. And I do want to
Uh,
say um to that you know, Jeff breaks off time and does this podcast with me. It's not for me to say, hey, can you also watch like 2 to 4 more movies a week, that aren't your
yeah,
choice? It's like
twist my
so
arm, yeah, but
yeah, exactly.
no,
So it's
I've
like,
really enjoyed a lot of the discoveries that you've brought to me, honestly, through this, where it's like, hey,
yeah,
we're going to be
same.
talking about this, and I go, yeah, shit, I'll put that on. Why not? And it's,
Yeah,
I've been really pleased by like broadening the horizons that way.
same.
Um,
And then I get your perspective on something I wasn't expecting, like
right. Well, I mean, we were talking,
such
and
as
let's not be ginger about it. We went in and we watched the clip from the heroin house raid in
sure.
American Gangster, and
Right on, man.
again, like you had mentioned, like yeah, there can be this disconnect, and I was like, I feel the cinematography is phenomenal because of the way
Quite
in my
so.
mind, the way that um it kind of makes you feel like when they breach the door into the actual like heroin lab
Mm.
that's being run by Denzel Washington. Ultimately, Denzel Washington's character, he's kind of the kingpin
Right, but
of the
interesting, he's
movie.
not even there,
He's not at
when
that. Yeah, right. This
when they
is
raid this so it's
right. That's like for his
basically,
lieutenants.
it's like undercover cops. They're like a specific unit that they're going after the drugs, right?
Yeah,
And they're even, basically the Russell Crowe character gets his own unit.
yep,
Uh, and so he drafts like the toast of Hollywood character actors, So
yeah.
yeah, it's like,
Oh, it's
it's
absolutely a
what's that
phenomenal
guy's name?
lineup.
Yeah,
You got
the
Russell
RZA,
Crowe,
which,
obviously, Denzel Washington.
and then his,
Notably, I mean, Josh
yeah,
Brolin and Norman Reedus are in this movie.
yeah. I guess we're all
And
over
I
the
was like,
place. You pretty
man,
much have to see
how did I
American
think
Gangster.
about that? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. You gotta definitely worth it. And I'm like I said, I'm gonna queue it up in the next week
Oh
or
wow.
so just to relive it. But again, what really struck me is when they breached the door into that drug lab, it is
Mm,
grimy and gritty, and you feel like I feel dirty, like just seeing kind of the state of
wow.
everything there. And it's that's one perspective that shifts along it. But I think that
Yeah, dude. And
I think
so,
they did a wonderful job just in that presentation of the American drug trade. Um, and it helps that there's so much star power behind it. But yeah, it was visceral and really brutal to go through that scene, and I think it was amazingly impactful.
absolutely, man. So yeah, we really jumped around there. But if you're this deep in, I assume you either listen to
You're in it, yeah.
Chief Keef, or you saw American Gangster, or you just want to throw down and see what's going on with these two crazy kids from Connecticut. But
Oh yeah,
so I looked basically, so right, Russell Crowe, he plays this this allegedly like ne'er-do-well cop. Like he's really hardcore about the policing. And he's
hmm,
based off a real character who for more American Gangster, and we'll do Chief Keef and American Gangster again if we have to.
yeah.
But
Oh, absolutely.
also this is, and yeah, we might have to close it up soon, but I just want to say basically it's like, so basically, who does Russell Crowe handpick for his elite team, right? It's like John Hawkes, and the RZA, and I can't do the whole cast list because we're way over,
Oh yeah,
our
I mean, and they,
timestamp.
yeah,
You know,
there's a million, there's just great a great wealth of star power in that movie, like I said.
right, man. And so, which takes us now to, um, so I pulled up John Hawkes because that guy is one cool customer, and his most recent acting credit on IMDb. Let's be real, I did use IMDb just now.
Oh, of course.
But it looks like John Hawkes is voicing the supervillain Ulysses Claw or Claw, played by Andy Serkis in the Black Panther film.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
how
I
cool!
did not know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen with Claw going forward?
Yeah.
You know, on Wikipedia it says Claw battles the Fantastic Four on the cover of Fantastic Four number 56 from November 1966. Little throwback action. That was pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So and we're late to see Black Panther 2 actually, Jeff. Um,
So I'm planning to see that this week with Amanda. She was like,
right
I
on.
know what I want to do on Tuesday. And I'm like, what's that? She's like, I want
Oh
to see Black
yeah.
Panther. And I was like, F yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it.
Uh,
So yeah, 100%.
I mean,
I
I
will
like,
happily report
yeah.
back on that the
Yeah.
next time we record.
Yeah, why not? I like that we didn't kind of jump on it. You know, I mean that would be bad.
Yeah.
That would just be bad. And but it was interesting that like we really, I mean, who knows what's natural or not, but like I did just sort of happen upon Chief Keef at this time. So drill, you would assume that drill is all about the beats, you know, which is sort of like, you know,
Yeah.
something like that, you know, is but
Yeah.
so not that I would not, you know, I mean Chief Keef's like I would never use that, you know, it's like
We're not professionals, for the record. I have
I would never
zero
use
musical talent.
that.
Yeah.
Never, never,
No,
never
yeah.
use that.
He could be like, you suck at making this, and I'd be like, yeah, no, you're right, I definitely suck.
So over a much better beat that is produced by someone awesome. I think you know it's so 12 million is co-credited on this, so I believe he's the producer because I thought for the most part I was just hearing Chief Keef. Kanye West does feature on one song. We're not doing that.
No.
It's at all. And it was, you know, but you know, so yeah, Chief Keef, also known as Sosa, Big Gucci Sosa. And by the way, Jeff, you sometimes you say that's Gucci and you sell it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's something that I picked up in the restaurant industry actually. Like,
Oh wow. Wow. Oh, that's
there's a
neat.
couple of terms, but yeah, one of the like, man, I've long ago, you know, from when I first started, it was a thing like in the restaurant where someone would ask, you good? And the response is, if you're doing good, if all's well, you go, I'm Gucci.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, I like before I even knew who like Gucci Mane was. You know, it was
Yeah.
one of the, it was in my nomenclature. So yeah, I still hold on to that to this day.
Right on my brow. So Chief Keef formed his own label. It's called Glow Gang, GLO Gang.
Yep. Cousins hit me up 2 weeks ago. He's like, hey, Thanksgiving at my place this year if you're around. And I'm like, bet I will bring a pie or something. So I'm going to be cooking I'm going to be doing
Oh,
like a little
nice.
potluck
Love
on
it.
my end and bring a little bit of food.
Love it,
I think I'm
man.
gonna make a pumpkin pie. Just because that is one of my all-time, pumpkin and pecan are like my all-time favorite pies. So I think I'm gonna do a pumpkin pie for the season. And I'm probably gonna make like maybe some chili or something. But they're that part of my family is always very into like the food, so I'm sure they're gonna pull out all the stops and cook
Right
everything. And
on, man. Right on.
so you know, it's gonna be, it'll be nice to, I'll show up and like when I'm at anybody's house, I'm like, hey, what can I do? Where in the kitchen do you need me? You know, I offer
Like it.
my expertise in that regard
Yeah,
when I'm not the one cooking everything from scratch. If like someone's hosting me, I'll be like, all right, what can I cut potatoes? Can I peel something? Like what do you
yeah,
need?
yeah.
Um,
It's like
because I
it's
know how
yeah.
stressful it is to be like the only person in the kitchen while everybody else is drinking beer and getting hungry, you know. So
Well,
I'm not
actually,
looking to do
I
that to
mean,
nobody.
I gotta be honest, like we have the opposite problem. There's actually so many cooks in the kitchen
Hmm.
for our Thanksgiving celebration that, my older brother had to fight to do the French onion soup. I think he's I think he's got two French onion soup drops in the Thanksgiving dinner rotation.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, my older brother did an episode of OG Hear About It podcast, and hopefully, keep making that money, and
Yeah,
uh, and then
eat
uh,
good
and then
food, keep good company.
yeah, and then hopefully one day we can all get to a point where we're lobbing turkeys at strangers.
Amen.
You
You
know,
know, hey, you
cool,
want to talk
cool,
about a
cool.
superhero? Feed the community. You know,
Big time, big
it's good
time,
stuff.
big time. Great way to end. I officially approve our longer timestamp. Thank you, sir. All right, I'm gonna hit the stop record. We're gonna try and grab some shouty episodes of Feast
Yeah.
Like Odin.